What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video I've been waiting to make for a long time, and that is my updated studio apartment hacks. If you've been following my channel for a while now, I've lived in 2 different studios plus one 900 square foot house, so I am all about small space living and making everything functional. But if you're new to this, there are some things I've learned along the way that will help make your transition into a studio a lot easier. Living in a studio is very different from moving into like a 1-bedroom for your first time. In a 1-bedroom, you have things like pretty much set up for you. It's kind of just a tiny house for one person. But a studio, you've really got to figure out how to maximize your space and make it feel like you're not living in the middle of your living room. That might not feel like an issue for everyone, but when I moved into my studio, I knew I wanted to feel like I had a bedroom area and a kitchen area and like just have everything feel a little bit more separated and like it belongs. So the #1 rule of living in a studio is versatility. Everything you have has to be functional for multiple purposes. You no longer have space just to have something that takes up ground space because it's pretty. So just looking around me, every single thing you can see has multiple purposes. It's really important to think of things that can take up the least amount of space but have the most potential. So this rolling cart, for instance, it's on wheels. I use this to cook at and use as my countertop because it's the only countertop I have in my apartment. I use it for storage because it has all of these great cabinets around it. I use it to eat all of my meals as well as to work a lot of the time. And then because it's on wheels, I can pull it out and move it into the living room if I need more space there. Or every single day I move it in front of my closet for my desk for when I teach English online. If it wasn't for this piece of furniture, I honestly would not be able to make my studio work as well as I am. Another really versatile item I want to point out is this coffee table. So this coffee table actually has drop leaves on both sides. If you've seen my first studio apartment, you know I'm a big fan of drop leaves because it can make this space ripple in size, or I can just put them down and it takes up significantly less space, and our coffee table is just really nice and small in the middle of our tiny living room. Over here, even though this is technically the middle of our living room, we have our 2 dressers. So this dresser is my boyfriend's, this one is mine. This dresser we use as a TV mount. So we don't have like a TV console or anything. That would just take up way too much space in our place. And so we use this dresser and we just put the TV on top of it. And so even though it's not your typical piece of furniture you'd have in the living room, it works perfectly for us. If you have a studio that has enough space for a couch, definitely make sure you get a small couch, either a love seat or just something that's a little bit smaller, because if you get a couch that's just really big, it will take over your entire apartment. So just be very conscious of how much space you actually have. This couch is perfect for us. It's really not that big. It could easily fit multiple people on it, but it's not like a huge couch. But the best thing about this couch is that the bottom of the couch pulls out and folds into a bed. So when we have guests over, they can stay on this couch and it's a full double bed. It's actually super comfortable, and you've had multiple people stay on it at this point, and it's super convenient that we can have this bed be here, but then when we don't need it, it just completely slides away. Also, underneath the long part of the couch, it opens, and so we can keep all of the bedding in here for the bed that we have when our guests come, which is really convenient. I said this in my last studio apartment hack, but if you don't have enough space for a couch the size of this, I really recommend getting a chase lounge. A chase lounge is a perfect medium because it's about the size of a love seat, but because it doesn't have arms on both sides, it gives you that extra space so you do have more seating on it. So the next thing I want to show you is the kitchen, and in the kitchen you've definitely got to work with what you've got. So if you have vertical space like I do, you've got to take advantage of all that space all the way up. I have a step stool so I can reach all of these top shelves because I wouldn't be able to reach them otherwise, but you need to take advantage of all of that. So I also have little shelves within the shelves to be able to put more items so I can have my plates below it and the cups on top. Just get really creative of how you can best make use of that vertical space. With that, we just have this tiny little sink, and since we don't have literally any counter space at all except for our rolling island, we have this drying rack, and 90% of the time we just put this drying rack on the floor and put our dishes in it as we're washing them. They don't touch the floor. It's like obviously elevated, but we'll put them all in there, and then once we've washed all the dishes, we can put it in here and it can sit in the sink to dry and drip all into the sink. The next thing I want to point out that's really important is to take advantage of any storage space you possibly can. So in my apartment, I have room above my clothes. So now I have tubs up there that hold anything extra. I have some decorations, some winter clothes, all of that goes up there. If you are storing anything that's closed, definitely get those vacuum bags. Those help a lot to save space space. And then also when I talk about taking advantage of vertical space, the same goes for down on the ground. So I have a shoe rack because I'm able to stack 3 times the amount of shoes and then have the rest of the area free. Whereas if I put all those shoes on the ground, I wouldn't be able to fit them all. The biggest storage hack I have, and this is I think my favorite because it can apply to anybody, is make sure you have space underneath your bed. So you're gonna have a bed in your apartment unless you decide to sleep on your couch or whatever, which is totally fine. But if you are getting a bed, make sure to get a bed frame that is lifted off the ground. I got one of the tallest bed frames I could find. This bed frame is 18 inches. So we have so much stuff stored under here. We have 2 suitcases, a backpacking backpack, a ton of my winter clothes, 2 guitars, but all of that is hidden underneath the bed. And then just make sure you get a bed skirt. I know bed skirts seem a little bit dated, but when it's hiding all of this stuff underneath, it's super convenient and it makes it just really clean and put away, and then everything's still right there whenever you need it. The last 2 things I want to touch on is you're going to have stuff that you want out of sight, out of mind. No matter if you think you're the best minimalist in the world, you're still gonna have things like a mop or a broom or just like bigger items that you don't want people to look at whenever they come into your space, but you're gonna need them. So make sure you have places where you can hide those away. So I keep a mop in my closet in the back and no one can see it. Or over here in my living room behind this closet, we have potting soil and extra toilet paper and paper towels and just things that we needed to have, but we didn't want them to be like front facing in our apartment. So make sure you can come up with little nooks and crannies that you can hide and store stuff away. The last thing I want to tell you is you're moving into a studio. It's small. Whether you're coming from a bedroom in your parents' house or a college dorm, or maybe you're going from a bigger apartment downsizing into a studio, it's small. Just only get the necessities. You can always get more stuff later, but if you're moving in for the first time, only get the bare basics and then decide what you really need from there. It's so easy to go out and go crazy and get more stuff than you need. So really just start small and build from there. You'll figure out what you need and what you really care about, but at least then you don't have a ton of excess stuff that you're trying to fit in somehow. I love living in studios. I think it's just a really fun way to have like a small functional place. I don't think we need as much space as our American culture tells us we do, and so I really love the functionality of small spaces. Those are just a few couple like quick tips that maybe will help you out. If you liked this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions about living in a studio, I've been doing it for years now and I'd be happy to help you out. Please comment below. I love interacting with you guys. And if you haven't already, please hit the big red subscribe button. I post videos on tips, tricks, and organization for small space living, and I would love to teach you anything I've learned. All right, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.